BTP family. This is Jasmine Haley, the founder of Beyond the Prophy, co-founder of Mom Genis, and we are here for another episode of BTP Straight Talk. So today's topic is on being your authentic self. This has been on my mind lately, and I only talk about what I'm actually thinking about. As many of you know or have seen my posts, I'm always a deep thinker, always analyzing, always willing to learn, always willing to have those tough conversations when it comes to thinking and considering things outside of the box. So I read an article from XO Nicole, which is actually a very, very positive website. Now, what's interesting about XO Nicole is that the owner of XO Nicole, the founder of XO Nicole, was actually the founder of this site called Nicole B Word. And I was never reading Nicole B Word, but I did read in Hip Hop News how she actually got rid of that site at its hiatus and decided to get rid of negativity and create this site called XO Nicole that's only focused on being the best version of yourself. As she did that, she lost everything. She had no money. She didn't even know if it was worth it. And now it's a wonderful, recognized brand that puts out some of the best content. And listen, it wasn't her. What she did before in that website wasn't something I was interested in, so I never read it. But once she started XO Nicole, it really spoke to the person that I am today. So there was an article that was talking about how to deal, or really the experience of two individuals who were best friends for 15 years. And this person decided to not show up to this woman's birthday party, and her friend ghosted her and basically left her alone. And the woman was so open and honest to the fact that she realized that she was actually trying to change who that woman was, who her best friend was, and wasn't really a full support of accepting who she was at that present, nor was she one that really wanted to embrace and celebrate her in the status that she was in. And so she had to realize that and let it go, and realize that she needed to let her go and be free. I'm not going to give you all the details of what happened and what she was able to come to realize, but it just helped me to appreciate how important it is to be your authentic self. I have three actually really memorable relationships, one fairly recent, the second one a couple of years ago, and then my first one when I was in middle school, y'all. We all know how we hate middle school. And these three individuals who came into my life that taught me really huge lessons about friendship and about love and about affection and about loyalty and integrity and really loving people for in their present, they really helped me to appreciate some of these big lessons. But in those lessons came pain. A lot of times we don't realize that with the lessons that we receive, there's going to be pain associated. So what was the pain? Frustration, anger. And I think the third time around, I was saying, how did I get myself back in this situation again? In both three instances, because my personality is conflict adverse, I tend to want to put my needs before others because of the Christian background that I grew up in. You're always taught to put other people's needs before yours. You want to show Christ-like love to everyone. I would do that to my own detriment. And so when I was in these relationships with these individuals, they will always come down more in a negative way about who I generally was since the day I was born. Someone that is, if someone comes in with a great attitude and their warmth and kindness, I'm going to show that back. I will be friendly. I will be open to everyone. I'm not that cynical as these people tend to be. And all that, their standard, they've set the standard of what a woman or a person should be, and that standard is them. There was no other answer to being anything else other than being up to their perceptional level. And really what that boils down to is egotism, not being humble, and just basically thinking that their way of life or their way of thinking is better than other people's. brought out in that process was just more frustration on their part, because really their lack of humility, or perhaps their self-worth or pain or trauma that they've been to, made them like that. So I've been watching, but anyway, so anywho, what I'm trying to say is that authenticity is so many things. There's this lady that I like to listen to, and it's actually, I've come into a newfound thinking when it comes to me being authentically who I am. If I feel that I'm getting good vibes to this person, I'm going to show them love. And there's been times in these friendships that I would even question, oh my gosh, if I show this person love, if I say this, if I say that, am I really going to get them upset? Like, can you imagine literally being that worried about what your friend is thinking? Like, who does that? Well, someone does that who doesn't have any self-worth, or a measure of self-worth, but it's really through the process or journey of understanding why it's necessary for us to be our authentic selves. It will lead to more satisfaction in your personal life and in your career. The more I dig deeper to understand who I am and what makes me tick, and the gifts I have and the gifts I bring into the relationships and friendships that I have, and the fact that I accept who I am, the fact that I forgive myself for the mistakes that I may make, all that contributes to being my authentic self. And there's so many of us that feel like we have to have our guard up, that we can't be who we are. There's so many women that think that way. When you think about women, when they do something or they say exactly how they feel, what happens? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. So there's this lady I like to follow on Womanure. Now, I do want to give a disclaimer that it's called Womanure, so just entrepreneur, but just take, Womanure. And so she's so real. She's so real. And there was something that she posted. On her Instagram. I'm going to pull it up for you right now. And it was 10 ways to set clear boundaries. And I've got to read them. So here's the first thing. If you're an empath like me, if you know that you aren't truly being your authentic self, if you feel like you can't be yourself, if you're, there's forms of pivoting that you need to do to be able to get your communication across, especially when you're dealing with our patients, or especially if you're dealing with business relationships. But in no shape and form should you be changing who you are to accommodate that person to make them feel better about themselves, better about the situation. You should always be who you are. So here are the 10 ways in which she sets clear boundaries, and I really want to encourage you to check out her site. A disclaimer on the fact that sometimes she uses adult language, but the message is there, it's clear. So the first one is you got to stop saying yes to things that are not important to you or that you don't have time for. Hello, I'm guilty. Guilty because you want to be there for people. I have all these gifts and talents. Why can't I do everything for everyone? But listen, guys, you're not being authentically who you are. You can't be authentically who you are if you're spread so thin. I am so guilty of this. And so you need to stop saying yes to things that are not important to you, which is why I have to write my goals down. I have to write my intention for the year. I have to be very clear on what it is that I'm trying to accomplish in the year, in that month, in that week, in that day, of what's going to be building towards my particular goals of what I set forth in my career or in my personal life. Number 2, don't present yourself as something you're not in order to gain favor. A lot of us are confused on what the next step is to be. We want to feel like we're a part of a group, and many of us make decisions to feel like we're a part of a group and to make sure that we get the favor of those who we want to be a part of. And I've seen where, people have felt so unsure of themselves and they don't feel like they can ever relax. And that's the worst place that you want to be. You want to be authentically who you are, but in a respectful, professional manner. And I do want to make clear that authenticity doesn't mean that you have to be rude and nasty. I want people to be authentically who they am in kindness and love, because there's so much nastiness or mean girlness that goes through our industry, mean bullying tendencies, even amongst the men, and we tend to forget the importance of kindness. Kindness wins always. Love wins always. And when we all act in that manner, we bring greater good just to our profession, but for humanity itself. All right, so here's the third thing. This is what's next up on her site. Don't agree with what someone says only because you don't want to offend them. Oh my gosh, you could prevent so many future issues if you just speak to what you value, to what's important to you, and never lose your integrity in that. There's so many times that I wish that I took that time to do that, and it would have saved a lot of grief. And this is where you kind of need that forgiveness in yourself as you are growing and you're learning about yourself. Listen, I'm in my I ain't going to say mid yet. I'm in my early 30s, and this has been such a huge lesson for me. All right, 4, stop putting your needs behind the needs of others. Yes, there's a time for you to be self-sacrificing, to show love, to be considerate, to be compassionate as a clinician. But there's something that we tend to do, especially women, where we tend to put other people's needs in front of our own to the detriment of who we are as a person. We get so stressed and we just feel like we're not caring for ourselves enough because we're taking care of this person and that person and this person. And we've got to remember that the needs of ourselves are just as important because, one, first things first, you cannot serve and give the best unless you are taking care of the person who is actually giving. So that would be ourselves. The next one, number 5, stop feeling guilty for doing what is right for you. There are times where I have felt compassion and empathy for others, and they would push and push and push and push their own agenda, and I've acquiesced and I've gone to doing whatever it is that they needed, but feeling miserable, but feeling, oh, why did I do this again? And oh, I don't have this time, and oh, I'm so stressed. Why? There's no need to do that. Being authentically who you are by setting those clear boundaries and not feeling guilty for choosing what's best for you, and understanding that if that person decides to hold it against you to make it more difficult for you or to treat you differently because you've chosen what was best for you or your family, that's not the kind of person you want in your life. Number 6, defend yourself by setting the record straight. You know, I do believe in that to some degree. I do believe that over time, if people are doing things that may be malicious or negative, things will work out in due time. Things will reveal itself in due time. So I do believe there's a time to speak and there is also a time to be quiet. You can set the record straight when necessary, but there's also a time where you may realize that speaking to this person isn't really going to change anything. It's like you're wasting your breath. And that's where you have to be secure on who you are as a person, understand your heart, and not let anyone determine who you will be or put you out of character because of their issues. Because you know what? At the end of the day, hurt people hurt people. And a lot of times you've got to let them go through that process and keep it moving. All right, next one. 7, stop hiding how you feel and speak on it. Woo, child! Yes. Speak on it. And I remember there was a situation where I was in and a religious authority and stuff like that was in a situation where some of what was happening with them was putting undue stress on our family. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do, in this situation? I'm starting to get in this frame of mind that isn't positive, isn't where I'm supposed to be. And I was able to say that in a loving way. I was able to say how I was feeling in a loving way, but also put up a boundary and say, you know what, this is much as we can deal with right now for me personally. And that didn't take away from my husband's lead, because at that time he wasn't involved in that situation, but it was important for me to set that boundary clear for me as a woman, to show also to my girls that, yeah, you can set a boundary. You can say how you feel. You can do it in a respectful, loving, and kind manner without having to be disrespectful or be rude or get out of character or display traits that aren't things that we hold esteemed and we hold as valuable in our family. Woo, this is another one. Number 8, stop seeking outside attention. Yeah. You got to really ask yourself, if the decisions that you're making right now, is this something that is towards your goals? Is this intentionally going to help you achieve what you've set forth for yourself? Or are you doing this because you're trying to seek some sort of validation from others? When you're trying to validate yourself by means of others, it will more than 99% sure put you in a situation where you lose who you are. You can't be authentically or the best version of who you are because you're really operating on being concerned about what other people think, and that's not the place to be. Next, number 9, stop being people's doormats by trying to always people please. When you don't set these boundaries up, when you're not who you are, when you don't prioritize your needs and your goals so that you can better serve the greater good, these energy vampires, they're going to pick you out of the crowd real quick, and they'll use you up as long as you allow them to. And then finally, we have our 10th one, which is quit surrounding yourself with bad and negative company. Surrounding yourself with bad and negative company is a surefire way for you to be in a situation where you feel that you're out of desperation, you need to do X, Y, and Z, because being in that negative mindset can lead you to choosing to do things that are not in alignment with who you are. Or perhaps you've lost who you are because you're surrounding yourself by these negative people. You don't even know who you are. And even if you were to start on that journey to discover who you are, you could never fully do it. You could never fully get to the highest level of understanding who you are if you're surrounding yourself with people like that. So I want to encourage you all to think of ways in which you can be authentically who you are, to grow into personally what you are meant to be. And I love Les Brown, who talks about finding that greatness within yourself. It's so necessary. It's really the answer to people feeling disgruntled about work. It's really the answer to really starting that process of career satisfaction. And you can't do that unless you understand who you are. The first step is getting to know who you are. So when I started 3 years ago, I'm so happy I did it. I'm Jasmine 2.0. You know, who I was 3 years ago is way different than the woman that you hear speaking right now. Do I still have fears? Do I still have self-doubt? Do I feel like I still have that little bit of an inkling of wanting to do something to make someone else feel more comfortable? The answer to all of them is yes. But guess what? It's not in the driver's seat anymore for me. It's not in the driver's seat. I am more aware of those tendencies, and in order to break a habit, you've got to start practicing being who you are, being the best version of yourself every single day until it becomes a habit, until these things of setting up these boundaries, not being controlled by people pleasers, watching your time, surrounding yourself by positive people who love you for who you are and aren't trying to change it. That will lead you to that personal freedom that you deserve. Every single person deserves that. We don't need to feel trapped. We don't need to feel like we can't be who we are and truly have happiness in our personal life and in our professional life. Listen, I want to invite every one of you to reconsider checking out our Career Advancement Academy. I'm telling you that right now, what I share on here is just a small tidbit of the excellence that you're going to get on our Career Advancement Academy. By becoming a member of that, for 12 whole months, every 2 weeks you get a new video from one of our expert academy faculty, myself, Christine Berry, Jamie Dooley, Amy Lequier. We have some Natalie Fikes. these amazing women are your tribe members who are going to push you beyond what you're comfortable with. And that's what we're here for, to give you those workable, actionable goals that you can take as you grow to your fullest self personally and also professionally. So I want to take a huge, huge, huge thank you to everyone. We're about to wrap up the season 2, y'all. I can't believe it. We're about to wrap up our season 2 of Beyond the Prophy. I am just over the moon that I've made it this long. And 2019 is just around the corner. We're about to be in season 3. And each conversation gets better. It's just a wonderful privilege to be able to even be nominated, y'all, nominated to actually be in the list of favorite dental podcasts of 2018. We're there. So you're going to get an email this Wednesday, and it's going to give you a link. Take less than 30 seconds, okay? Maybe 60 seconds. And vote for us. Vote for Beyond the Prophy and Mom Dentist. We're a couple of women who are just out there doing our thing and sharing from the heart and doing it imperfectly. It does not have to be perfectly. As you see, the sound isn't perfect. Guess where I'm at, y'all? As I'm sharing from my heart, I'm waiting in line to pick up my little ones. I'm a mompreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And it's not easy making the decision to go out there and put my voice out there, to go out there and really risk a lot to share who I am, share my family, share myself, in the hopes that more and more people will be moved to change and empower themselves in their life. And so, we're there. Our name is finally there. After 2 years, our names are finally there. I need your vote. We need your vote. Please vote for us. It would be such an honor to be recognized. If not, we'll try again for next year. But you all are the best, absolute best. We appreciate the love, the kind words. I even got such a moving email from a student named Ariel that I'm going to share my next BTP Straight Talk, because I just needed to get this authentic conversation out. But she wrote such a beautiful, beautiful email, and she's a student. And I don't even know how, I can't even remember right now off the top of my head how she found out about Beyond the Prophy. But just to hear that it's even impacting our students, like, we have no idea what the future of our profession is going to look like if we're all walking around empowered and we all walking around inspired to make a change for our community. So until then, check us out at beyondtheprophy.com. I will see y'all later. We're going to have a great episode this week, and I hope you tune in. All right, bye.